This is Diane Cooper with WxIntegrations. In today's video, we're going to discuss the late September and into October 2017 climate outlooks. This video was recorded on September 22nd of 2017. I want to highlight, if you're a Growcaster client, we did an expanded briefing for you, and you will have received an email with the link and password to get to that expanded briefing. So make sure to check your email and look at that expanded briefing. We've got additional maps, we've got information about soil moisture, information about the hurricanes and what we're looking for the tropical activity. So we have a lot of additional information. So this briefing is just intended to be a quick overview highlight. So getting started, we're going to look at precipitation first, and we're going to take a look at September 29th through October 5th, so that kind of week outlook. And right now what we're seeing is a little bit of a dichotomy going on. We've got the TANs, which is representing below normal precipitation, and that's really going to expand from the Pacific Northwest into kind of the Northern Plains region, honestly most of the Mississippi River Valley and into the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. On the flip side, we do have some pockets of seeing above normal. First, going from west to east, we're going to look at Texas. Thankfully, not as much into East Texas. We're still recovering from Harvey there, so any rain right now is not welcomed. But it's going to be more into western Texas, and then as we get into the high plains, a little bit into even Arizona and Nebraska. So it gives you a little bit of insight where we're seeing that above normal precipitation signal. And then we also have an above normal precipitation signal that's extending from Florida. Not good news for those recovering from Irma, and extending along that coastline into the mid-Atlantic. And again, that's an above normal signal. If you are in an area highlighted in gray, that means that we're looking at about normal precipitation for this period of the 29th through October 5th. So switching to the temperature perspective, and again, both dichotomies going on. We've got above normal temperatures that we're looking at in the west, central part of the U.S. We're looking at a below normal, and we're looking at above normal in the far southeast. This is a huge switch to what we're currently seeing. Right now what we have is a low pressure trough that's in the mid levels of the atmosphere on the western part of the U.S. And so that is really actually giving them below normal temperatures. Well, we are baking in the central and eastern part of the U.S. Well, this ridge is going to start to break down. That's really giving us this heat dome and record highs, and that is going to start to shift off, and that's going to allow that trough that's over the west to shift east. So that's why we're saying those below normal. But we've got a ridge building in the west, so that's really what's going to allow for those above normal temperatures to start building back into the west. So that's a little bit of why we're seeing this pattern change. Now we're going to look at the full month of October. So this is taking every single day and averaging together what do we think it's going to be compared to normal. And for the most part, we actually see a lot of white on this map. White means that we don't have a strong signal one way or another, so you've got pretty much equal chances of seeing above, below, or normal. For the areas that are outlined in the browns, that means that we have a signal of below normal precipitation, so a good part of the Mississippi River Valley. And then the areas of green means that we have signals of above normal, so small little section in the Pacific Northwest and then parts of Florida into the Georgia coastline area. Temperature-wise, again, looking at the full month, and we're seeing that heat just continue in the west, and that's what the stronger signals of above normal temperatures are showing. We also are seeing a signal of above normal as you go into the tip of Florida, and then that above normal pattern really expands into the Great Lakes and into the Northeast. Interestingly, we have this little pocket of below normal across the Tennessee Valley and into parts of the deep south. And then that is surrounded by areas of white. And again, that white means equal chances, so we don't really have a strong signal. Now, what are the drivers of this outlook? Well, right now, we are actually in a neutral ENSO state, and ENSO is looking at what's going on with our Pacific sea surface temperatures. And some of the models are actually showing that we're going to stay on the cooler side of normal for those Pacific sea surface temperatures. And some of them are even showing we may go into a weak La Nina. So we're just going to have to watch that. Right now, the official forecast is we're going to stay in neutral. The other thing that we tend to look at for these outlooks is what's going on an atmospheric scale. We've got these atmospheric patterns that really kind of ebb and flow. They're kind of longer range patterns. And right now, we're not really seeing any strong dominance of any one of those patterns either. And so because of that, I will highlight that we may have a little bit less confidence in these forecasts because we're not really getting good indicators of a pattern that we tend to help give us influence and increased confidence as we go into these outlook regimes and these outlook time frames. So just want to highlight that those are some of the drivers that we're watching and what's really not out there. So now we're going to start to close out. We're going to look at the drought situation. If you followed us last month, we were really talking about the drought that was going on in the high plains. And Montana still looks pretty bad. Honestly, exceptional drought, D4 conditions, that dark red, and extreme drought, D3, is covering a good part of the state. On the positive side, we've seen some improvement in North Dakota and South Dakota, and that's good news. We are still seeing a little bit of extreme drought in South Dakota, but for the most part, it's starting to improve. And when we look at the change map, this gives us an idea of what it was like a month ago. And I want to highlight that the drought monitor is prepared on a Tuesday, so it was prepared on the 19th, but it was not issued until Thursday morning on the 21st. But on those change maps, anywhere you see those greens, that means things are improving, getting better, always something we want to see. But when you look at these areas of yellows and oranges, that shows areas where we're getting a little bit worse. And so, again, we're seeing some of that into Montana, even a little bit into eastern North Dakota. We've seen some change. We're also seeing a little bit of increasing drought as we go into the Pacific Northwest, so that's not good news. And then even in part of the central U.S., we're seeing some abnormally dry, even a little bit of moderate drought, D1 conditions start to develop. So something just to keep in mind as we go into the fall months. So closing out a little bit about who we are at Weather Integrations, we provide critical weather information and notifications that are tailored to your specific business operations. Our weather action alerts include recommendations of how our clients can alter their plans. We're just going to help you take advantage of the forecast by looking at when you've got optimal weather conditions for doing various tasks. We're also going to look at the details of the forecast to help you get a heads up notice of when you might have less than optimal conditions, and we're going to help you minimize the risk. So when you have that strategy and approach, you will be able to improve your overall net profits. Our Growcaster tool is specially tailored for those in agriculture. We've made it a little bit easier when you go in to register by asking you some really quick questions of telling us about your operations. So just click on whether or not you are doing no-till, whether you're doing organic, traditional agriculture, if you've got livestock, and we've kind of prepackaged our alerts so that it'll automatically populate your account when you go in and register. So we've tried to make registration really easy to register. Just go to weatherintegrations.com/growcaster-info. You see the link at the bottom, and give our 14-day free trial a try.